Folks, we made it. Semifinals, finals. Let's wrap this puppy up. I'm going to talk about four matches today, two semis, finals, and then a little bonus one. But let's get to the semis first. First match we have is Yuya Uemura versus Boltin Oleg, and we are coming to you from a very nice looking Aori Nagoka arena. It looks great in there, and the crowd is ready to go. This is the same venue for both the semis and the finals, and both events have good crowds, and people are excited to be there, which is great because I was excited to watch it, and nothing like a good crowd to complement some really good wrestling. Like I said, we have Boltin Oleg and Yuya Uemura starting this one off. Um, Yuya is just so good on the mat, and he's really kind of focused in on that. I mean, he's done it forever, technicality wise, but in this New Japan Cup, he's really shown us that he is the master of the arm drag. The guy loves a wrist lock, and just continuing to wear guys down with that, working towards ultimately his finisher, which is the deadbolt. And then he's got a couple complementary things in there. This one's great. Boltin Oleg tries to kind of combat Yuya's technical proficiency with his raw amateur wrestling talents and his natural strength, which kind of seems unnatural sometimes, just because what a brute that guy is. This match, Yuya is in control the whole time, except for when Boltin does kind of beast, which happens a couple times. But yeah, Yuya's in control of this one, working the arm the whole time. Some suplexes, some back and forth stuff. Boltin hits a big F5 on him, which is sick, and tries to set up a super kamikaze, but Yuya sunset flips out of that, or rolls out of it. Hits a really interesting Frankensteiner off the top that looks super sketchy, which is complimentary in this case, because it doesn't look cooperative at all. Gets the job done, and this is interesting because it leads into another very uncooperative looking struggle type of spot, which is when Yuya does actually get the deadbolt on Boltin after hitting. He's got the arm trapped, hits some big headbutts. Like I said, struggles to get him over with the deadbolt, which it should look like. It should be a struggle getting that guy over. Goes up to the top, hits a high fly flow, and gets the 1, 2, 3. And that man is off to the finals. Really good showing from Boltin in this tournament. He didn't necessarily look out of place. This is definitely his ceiling at this point, which is fine. Totally good. He just got a belt. I think he's the never six-man champion as well, but who would ever know? And yeah, that's totally fine. He thrived in this role and had a really good match with a top talent in the company and showed out. So shout out Boltin. Semifinal 2 has us tuned into Callum Newman and Shota Umino. These guys put on a show here. Everything's super crisp in this. Something that's been growing on me for a while with Callum is his intensity, and everything he's doing has a point. It seems like he's a good striker, and it looks meaningful anytime he's doing something, and he lets you know as well. He'll talk about it, and he does talk a lot in the ring, which I do like. But yeah, this one, I've got tons of notes on this one, but it's really just super good. At one point, they go outside of the ring, and Callum sets up two tables, tries to suplex Shooter into them, but Shooter counters it, suplexes Callum himself onto the mat or the outside, and they go back in the ring. Um, there's a really cool quick combo from Callum in this one. and he ends the combo by power bombing Shooter from inside the ring over the ropes into the two tables. Crazy. Gets a 19 count out of it. The crowd's going nuts because, of course, they are. They should be cheering Shota. He's against the wretched leader of the United Empire, and Shooter deserves the crowd loving him in this one, and they do. But he's met, once he gets back in the ring, he's met with a pretty decisive win by Callum after maybe a little bit of foul play. Um, Shooter does sneak in a roll up for 2.9 as this is all happening, but Callum kind of keeps the headlock that Shooter had on him and counters it into his big Princess Curse suplex. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. This match was great. Like I said, I think it could possibly be both guys' best match. They wrestled like the outcome wasn't predetermined. They wrestled like at some point the referee was going to tell them who was going to win, and like they were both showing out to whoever was in Gorilla making that call. Obviously, that's not what happened, but that was excellent. Very great match. Excited to see the finals. Post match, Callum says, Shota, you failed again, as you always do, which is true. But he does kind of offer him a spot in the United Empire while Shota's laid out. Again, I don't think that'll happen, but interesting little wrinkle. I don't even think it would be a bad idea. Shooter going full heel would be fine. His most captivating version of himself was when he was not caring, shaved head, badass dude. Still needs to lose the pink trunks, but good showing from Shooter here. Like I said, I think it's both of their best matches. Whatever works for me. And then guess what? We go to the finals night. And this is the bonus match. The first match of the night is an open challenge from Konosuke Takeshita, which I was super excited to see. I didn't know this was happening until I tuned in. And it was the first match on the card. And I was very excited. And shame on me. Because who comes out? Chase Owens and Yujiro Takahashi. These two idiots walk to the ring. Yujiro's super over. I don't know if he's like over right now in the Fed or if this was just in his hometown or what the deal was, but he and Chase play rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to square off versus Takeshita. Yujiro wins the rock, paper, scissors, loses the match, but it's a super fun one. I was obviously very annoyed when these guys walked out. But there's no one really better right now at making chicken salad out of chicken shit. And Yujiro certainly is the latter. But really fun. Takeshita does what he does and puts on great matches. Yujiro is like so close to, he always has been, but like he's the guy that always relies on his opponent being better than him to make a good match happen. He kind of goes through his own paces, his own routine, and is expecting his opponent to be there for him when he needs it, which is totally cool. But he's just nowhere near as good as any of the guys that he has good matches with. I think, again, that speaks to Takeshita's brilliance in the ring, but it also speaks to kind of the totality of Yujiro's career. Obviously, when he came in, super promising. I think he was a tag team with Naito for a bit. Obviously, the B guy there has always been the B guy. Still is the Tokyo Pimp. Still is in House of Torture. But we didn't see Peter tonight, which is fine. So yeah, that was the bonus match. Again, I was pretty bummed, but it turned out pretty good. Moving on. We got the New Japan Cup final. And it kicked ass. Callum Newman, Yuya Uemura, probably the two guys that I, throughout this tournament, I think I did predict this being the final. If I didn't say it on here, I certainly said it on Blue Sky. I know I mentioned to JR for sure. But these guys square off. The crowd loves Yuya, of course they should. He's the Heat Storm. Hot in there. Lots of mat wrestling at first. Of course, it's a staple of Yuya's. Callum slows down the pace after speeding up the pace, hitting the ropes insanely hard, like Dragon Gate style. Boom, 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 boom. But he gets met with a kick for his hard work and rolls to the outside. Yuya follows him out, kind of gets baited out there, but quickly turns the tables on Callum, says, no, 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 we're doing this my way. Gets back in the ring. Crowd loves it. Very respectful. Nice round of applause there. They're back in the ring, and a little bit later, Callum hits this beautiful bridging tiger suplex for a 2. This match was just really good. Highly recommend watching it. There's a foot stomp spot in this one, kind of out of nowhere by Callum, which is neat because it's one of his finishers. It's finished matches in this tournament and prior to this tournament, and it's kind of out of nowhere. He hits it, doesn't get a 3 out of it. Zane J jumps up onto the slides in a chair, jumps up onto the apron, distracts Red Shoes, and Callum's going to set up a second one, misses it. Yuya rolls out of the way, and he goes back to the arm. Of course, this man loves a wrist lock. He loves an arm drag, and dare I say, he's a little bit Bret Hart like in his technical proficiency, and he gives his opponents everything. To be fair, both guys give each other a ton in this one. They're working super hard for one another, where they're working super hard for the crowd. Just both guys get it. They completely understood the assignment. And they absolutely ruled at this one. There's a big German suplex followed by a dragon suplex by Yuya, and then a big release deadbolt. He goes up top for a high fly flow attempt, hits it, goes up for another. Wait, still Newman's standing, goes to do it. Callum Newman picks him out of the air with a big kick, and hits a huge lariat on him that almost gets a 3. I was really hoping this would be the end. Just a big lariat after a kick out of the air would have been sick. But what follows that is this finisher I've never seen Callum hit before. He's got Yuya up in a fireman's carry position and kind of does like a swinging uranagi out of it, like a sit out swinging uranagi. I know Goto has a pretty similar move that's out of a vertical suplex, and it's not GTR. Anyways, whatever it is. And it's also similar to, of course, Baron Corbin's finisher, the End of Days, which is a pretty sick finisher. But yeah, Callum Newman, 1, 2, 3, and there's your New Japan Cup champion. Honestly, well earned, well deserved. This guy worked his ass off in this tournament. He has established himself now as the top heel in the Fed. He's going to challenge Yota Tsuji, what I assume will be Sakura Genesis. Tanahashi comes out, presents him with the beautiful cup trophy. Yuya's devastated, obviously. Limps his way back. Crowd is giving him all the love. Yota Tsuji comes out in this beautiful currant, nice, beautiful red currant suit. But he just comes in, holds up the belt. The rest of the United Empire get up on the apron. Callum's like, chill, guys. They chill. He leaves. Yota Tsuji leaves. He's left standing in the ring by himself. Little recap of the tournament, though. Much better than 2024. Better than last year as well. This one wasn't nearly as... I mean, obviously we had to trudge through some House of Torture stuff. But for the most part, even those matches served their purpose in some way. Either getting guys over or... I mean, there was obviously... I had my gripes about how they were using House of Torture guys, and why does a guy with a title need help from House of Torture to beat a stand-in in Kojima? Anyways, for the most part, great tournament. I think they did what they needed to do. Certainly having those two guys in the finals, Yuya and Callum Newman, was a great choice. It establishes Callum Newman, like I said, as the top heel in the Fed right now. And the crowds were there for most of this. Of course, in the well lit buildings, it's a little tough to kind of get behind, and you can, I don't know, it feels like the crowd knows it too. They're just in a big bright space. The best they can do is clap along, and there is really nothing like these last two nights. There's nothing like a hot New Japan crowd. Crowds that aren't selfish, crowds that aren't in it for themselves, just there to watch the matches, contribute when they can, cheer for their guys. That's what it's all about, and people need to understand that a little bit more in North America. That the show's not about them. The show's for them, and not about them. But for New Japan, in a constant state of flux right now. Obviously, there's more guys leaving than ever. You've recently, obviously, you've had Naito leave, you've had Gabe Kidd leave, you've had, uh, all those guys, David Finley, Hiromu, Evil. I think I already said that, but it was late night. Okay, go to Banff. Go to Banff. Go to Banff. Have a great time at night. It's fun. And then drive home and watch New Japan Cup and record this for 17 views on YouTube. It's well worth it. Um, New Japan is pointed in the right direction, I think, at this point. Like I said, a constant state of flux, guys in and out. But this tournament really did help establish kind of who's who and who they're going to lean on moving forwards. And that's super important because we haven't had any clarity in a while. Certainly with the very recent departures of Gabe and David Finley, those, especially those guys being top gaijins in the Fed. David Finley won the New Japan Cup last year. Like, these are guys who are hard to replace, and this tournament did a lot in showing that they're committed to this kind of younger generation coming up. Not that they had much of an option. Tanahashi retiring, everyone leaving, like I said. But I think they're pointing in the right direction. There's obviously less stability, but this tournament shored that up a little bit. And for me, I appreciate you tuning in, and I appreciate all the comments, the nice words, the thumbs up, and maybe I'll do it next year. Maybe not. But in the meantime, watch all the matches I talked about today. I know this review is about 20 minutes. The matches will take you 3 times that long, but they're well worth it. Great New Japan Cup. Certainly the semis and the finals, even the quarters were great. So yeah, check them out. Again, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.